In the previous episode, Irfan and his team released a pair of Grosbeak Starlings, a bird typical of Sulawesi. However, the endemic bird in Sulawesi is not only Grosbeak Starling. There is also the Fiery-Browed Starling, a bird species that this time will be released by Irfan and his team at deHakims Aviary. This time Irfan was not going to make a joke by opening the cage door and letting the birds fly out prematurely. The ritual of releasing the bird will proceed normally.
It's the Aviary!
Okay, now let's get the Fiery-Browed Starling off. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Fiery-Browed out. Come here, son. Come here. Goose. We push through the back.
Whoa!
Fiery-Browed Starling. The Fiery-Browed Starling, or Anodes erythrophorus, also known as the Fiery-Browed Mina, is a bird with a body length of 28 centimeters. Their black beak is quite large but still far less in size than the Grosbeak Starling's beak. The fur on their bodies is predominantly dark gray. The exceptions are moss green wings and tail. The tongue is yellow, and the cheeks are black. However, the most distinctive feature that distinguishes these birds from starlings, in general, is their reddish-orange eyebrows like fire. It's not quite right to call it eyebrows because the color starts from the nostrils or nares and extends to the top of the eye until it almost reaches the nape of the neck. Male and female Fiery-Browed Starlings both have red supercilium. They both have the same physique and stature. With their dashing looks, do they also have the same dashing voice? To find out, let's hear their voices. Although its distribution area is limited to Sulawesi, Fiery-Browed Starling has 3 subspecies spread across North, Central, South, and Southeast Sulawesi. These birds can be found in lowland forests and forest edge areas. Even so, they more often inhabit mountain forests with an altitude of between 1,000 and 1,500 meters above sea level. They are often found in an area as high as 2,300 meters above sea level. In the wild, they usually live in small groups of 2 to 3 birds, although some prefer to form large groups. Sometimes they also mingle with other birds that are also endemic to Sulawesi, such as Grosbeak Starling or Sulawesi Mina. However, even if they work in small groups, they are agile birds. When they encounter a threat, such as poachers or predators, these birds will signal danger to members of their group. They often perch on fruit trees because, apart from insects, these birds like to eat fruit. Their appetite is also very high, to the point of being greedy. In addition, they have unique feeding behavior. They are often in a hurry to eat as if they are being pressed for time. One more thing, because they eat a lot, they often poop. When the breeding season arrives, male and female Fiery-Browed Starlings will build nests using holes in the trees. In the nest hole, which is about 4 meters from the ground, the female lays 3 to 4 eggs, incubating for about 2 weeks. After that, both parents take care of and feed their young. Although their distribution range is minimal, and there is a declining trend in their population, the number of Fiery-Browed Starlings in the wild is still significant. The IUCN classifies them into the category of least concern, and fortunately again, people outside Sulawesi are not very familiar with these birds, so they are less prevalent than domesticated birds in Indonesia. Sometimes, the lack of popularity turns out to be a blessing in itself. That's the information about Fiery-Browed Starling. Hopefully, this video can be helpful for you. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. See you again in the next episode.